Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday, April 15th, 2017. I would normally not be up here on Saturday, but so much breaking news is taking place. Trump just had a giant victory on the Korean Peninsula and the South China Sea. Roger Stone is on Skype with us exclusively, about to dish on the latest internal White House power struggles. And this guy is just so on target what he breaks down. You can set your watch and warrant by it. So we're going to Roger here in just a moment. But North Korea just backed down. They didn't do a nuclear test. They didn't fire missiles at Japan. They promised to do that on April 15th. You're saying, well, that's still ongoing. No, they're already several hours into April 16th. This is a big victory. Trump got China to say that they would basically take part in an attack on North Korea if they launched missiles or tested a nuke. This is a big deal. But Roger Stone's got huge breaking intrigue. I got a call a week and a half ago about what Trump really believed on Syria, that he didn't want boots on the ground or an air war or a no-fly zone. And then 3 days later, that was actually in the news. Word for word, what I got from my sources. I called Stone. He confirmed those sources. So he's got a lot of other intel he's going to break down right now exclusively. We're doing this a little bit low tech today because he's on Skype. I'm here in my office. But Roger, it is great to have you, my friend. Let's get to Korea in a little while, since I already mentioned that. But first off, what is the latest intel on the ongoing power struggles inside the White House?
Well, obviously, you have a group in the White House who think they are puppeteers, and they'd like Donald Trump to be their puppet. But Donald Trump is no man's puppet. He works only for the American people. I've had, as you know, Alex, a 40-year experience of knowing that whenever Donald Trump has all the information, he'll almost invariably make the right decision. And this is what's happened here. He elected to do the limited Syrian strike. His advisors immediately saw an opening to propose a full Vietnam-style ground war, 150,000 troops. Alex, the defense contractors were licking their chops. They were so happy. The bad news for them was that so many libertarians, so many non-interventionists, so many patriots, so many Trump supporters expressed their opposition or their concern, both publicly and privately, that Trump now had the correct focus, and again, over the objections of Mattis, over his defense secretary, over the objections of McMaster, he is elected not to expand the war, to move on. In the same breath, the president's critics try to say, oh, he's flip-flopping on China. He met with the Chinese and he didn't break their arm about currency manipulation and our trade relationship. He's obviously abandoned those things. No, he hasn't abandoned those things at all. All he's doing is prioritizing them, getting the nukes out of the hands of a maniac in North Korea and getting China's help to do that, which appears to be happening, is a higher priority for the president right now than currency manipulation or trade. Believe me, the Chinese are going to hear about that from Trump, but right now, there's a lot of good signs. If confirmed, this rejection of these enormous shipments of coal from North Korea and the replacement of those orders to purchase coal with U.S. companies by the Chinese is highly symbolic. The Chinese are trying to tell the North Koreans, quit screwing around or we're going to have to join the coalition and take you out. This is all the Trump diplomacy. It's working, Alex. I think it's really working.
Well, that's right. I mean, since you mentioned that, Roger, this is so important. China, since 1950, has always sided with North Korea. China signaled to the peoples daily that they were ready to not have Trump attack if they detonated a nuke or fired missiles at Japan, as they promised to do yesterday. Yesterday, Korea time, today time. They backed off, and they didn't do it. It's the first time that they have actually backed off to the United States. This is a huge victory for Trump, but I was watching CNN, ABC News earlier. There is literally no coverage of how big a victory this is for the foreign policy 86 days in of Donald Trump. And I'm not in some ass-kissing exercise here. These are facts. He just got China to come in and deal with this problem that Bill Clinton and others created, giving the reactors to North Korea. So this is a huge, huge victory. What do you make of that?
No, I almost totally agree. I mean, I think the Chinese have now agreed to work with us in a partnership to slow the North Koreans down and get them out of the nuclear business. And that alone would be a major breakthrough because, as you point out, in the past they have been unwilling to get involved. as far as the Moab bombing in Afghanistan, Donald Trump was very forthright in this campaign that he was going to crush ISIS. ISIS is a loose end created by the foreign policy of the globalists, George Bush, George W. Bush, and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Trump doesn't have the option of doing nothing, but with a non-interventionist foreign policy going forward, we won't be creating any new organizations like ISIS. So
that's right. We won't be giving North Korea reactors again. We won't be creating ISIS. I saw one commenter say, "Oh, Alex Jones, Roger Stone, fake news." It's front page Google News that North Korea blinked, backed down, didn't test a nuke, didn't fire missiles. That's a fact. So your little magic word of fake news doesn't work that David Brock told you. So go to hell. Go ahead. You want to comment to that? People denying this just happened. This was a big victory. This was one of the biggest threats to nuclear war since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and now it's been averted. This is a big victory. Just like the Supreme Court. Just like the Supreme Court justice. And they won't mention that victory.
The games being played by some in the media are so outrageous, it's ridiculous. I did an interview with this clown from Salon.com, which they now have up saying, you see, by the way, Stone moved his shoulders and blinked. He's obviously hiding something. This is because I'm denying Russian involvement in the Trump campaign, which there is none. These guys are weasels. Salon.com, DailyBeast.com. This is scum. We're talking about scum, lowlifes who couldn't get employed anyplace else, smearing patriots like Alex Jones and others, trying yet again to push this phony narrative. Trump is on schedule on so many of his initiatives. He's given us a conservative Supreme Court justice. He is repealing regulations on the domestic side, using executive orders and departmental power to do so. Yet the lib labs are out trying to say, oh, Trump's flip-flopped on everything. No, he's flip-flopped on almost nothing. In truth, I think he is very close to doing exactly what he told us he was going to do.
Except for the health care bill, but now he's working with Rand Paul saying he's going to that. The only place I'd say he didn't follow through was that, but I know you have the inside baseball. What is the Trumpian logic there, Roger Stone?
Look, I think that perhaps it's best for me to say that I just think the president made a mistake in the sense that we now know, and he knew none of this, that this bill was written by John Boehner, who's now a very high-paid lobbyist for the healthcare industry. Boehner passed it to Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan passed it to...
So Trump trusted his friend Boehner.
Reince Priebus passed to the president and said, Mr. President, here is our bill, implying it had been written at the White House. Trump looked at it, thought it was sufficient, he moved forward. I don't think he understood the bill's origins. I don't think he understood that while there was some good stuff in there, it could have gotten much better. And then, and I'm very pleased about this, 3 Saturdays ago, he finally reached out to Senator Paul, and they had a sit-down, and now they're going to work together to craft a better bill. Rand Paul's bill isn't perfect either, by the way, but it's a starting place. It's a better, platform on which to build something. Donald Trump never loses when he is temporarily defeated. He only loses when he stops fighting.
That's right.
He only loses come back, and he's not the kind of guy who doesn't come back.
And let's expand on that. We didn't pass Obamacare. We're trying to get rid of it. When they didn't get rid of it day 70 or whatever, they said, oh my God, it's his now. He failed. Obamacare's on him. No, it's called Obamacare. I know that's a conspiracy theory, but that's what it was called. It's not called Trump Care. So again, there's this major psyop saying Trump's betrayed everybody. But let's get into the White House infighting that you broke on my show weeks ago, months ago. Everything you've broken down has come out to be accurate. What is the latest? Give us those scoops. That's what folks want to know. Roger Stone of StoneColdTruth.com.
Alex, inside the White House, they have essentially what is referred to as the Gang of Three. That really is comprised of Jared Kushner, Reince Priebus, Dina Powell, a former Bush operative, who spoke at the Clinton Global Initiative Conference a couple of years ago. None of these reports were or are for Donald Trump, but they have gotten lofty positions in his government. Perhaps they thought that this was going to be like some of the Democratic presidents who operate on the basis of somebody else's talking points. And they have failed spectacularly when it comes to getting Trump off of his agenda. You see, they would like him to be more mainstream, more establishment. They want him to be popular when he goes to Malibu or the Upper West Side. But I don't think Donald Trump cares about how he's perceived in those places. He has no interest in kowtowing or ass-kissing for the establishment. So I think that these advisors are trying to push him in the wrong direction. Steve Bannon, who I continue to think is a good man, has been increasingly surrounded. And there's two possibilities. He could survive, but be neutered, sit in an office with a phone and a desk, but have no authority, or he could choose to leave. When reporters say to me, is Steve Bannon going to be fired? No, I don't think he'll be fired. But when the President of the United States, in an interview with the New York Post, says that he barely knows who you are, that's a pretty clear indication that your power is on the wane. It really is tragic, Alex, that Steve made no effort to bring other Trumpites into the circle. He'd have allies to take on the neocons internally if he had done so.
Sure, absolutely. Let's expand on this, though. The Democrats are openly saying overthrow Trump, have a COG, say the whole election's Russian. Why suddenly are you all over when they banned you from MSNBC, CNN? Why suddenly are you on those channels who admittedly had banned you? Not that they have any big audiences, but at least when they're calling you a Russian agent all day, you at least get to go on and challenge them. And they had congressional hearings saying I'm being criminally investigated for being a Russian agent, but nobody calls me. They don't show any proof. I can't go testify. At least now you're finally getting to go on the shows, but why are they doing that?
Well, I think part of it is because nobody else in this narrative is willing to talk and take them on. I mean, I have been very clear that I'll talk about this anywhere, anytime, and that I want the Senate and House to have hearings, that I want to be called to those hearings. I don't need a subpoena. I'll show up voluntarily. If they want to subpoena me for the headline, go ahead. But I'm not asking for immunity, but I want my day in court as it they realize bitten off far more than they can chew. And Alex, if I cannot get the message across on in a committee hearing, then I'm going to have to get the message across in the media. So the fact that I'm willing to talk while Paul Manafort and Clarence Page, or whatever his name is, and General Flynn are not willing to do any of these interviews, and believe me, I would not be out there saying and doing what I'm doing if I knew that the information surveilled by the deep state from my Twitter feed, from my email traffic, from my text messages, from my phone calls, showed any culpability with the Russians. There is nothing there. This is a steaming pile of bullshit. That's a fact. So maybe they think if I get enough FaceTime, I won't keep pressing for the hearings. But, NBC, I must tell you, they used a bite of my spirited defense of Donald Trump on the nightly news, on Chris Matthews. Andrea Mitchell used it. That's pretty good for a guy who's been banned at NBC.
Let's get back to North Korea. They swore to detonate this atomic bomb. They swore to launch missiles on this April 15th anniversary. That's now passed. It's now the 16th there. That is a huge victory for Trump military strength and standing up to them when everybody turned against them, getting China to join the coalition. No coverage of that. I mean, they admit that China, and North Korea backed down. This is big.
Well, and they're not covering it because to do so, they would be forced to admit that at least in this sense, the Syrian strike has been brilliant. You think the North Koreans didn't get the message? They got the message. That the days of having a president of the United States who's a patsy are over. The days of having a weakling as our commander-in-chief who whimpers and cowers whenever they express their unhappiness. What was it that Barack Obama said on the hot mic? That after I'm reelected, I'll have much more flexibility as far as Vladimir Putin is concerned. Yet they have the nerve to say we're soft on Putin, when in fact they're the guys who were soft on Putin. When he rolled into Crimea, they did nothing. When he rolled into Syria, they did nothing. The technology transfers that were approved by the Obama-Clinton administration continued through the whole time that Putin was acting in bad faith in the region. So if they want to talk about who's soft on Putin or the Russians or the North Koreans, that would be the old administration. When Donald Trump draws a line in the sand and you cross it, you better be prepared to meet St. Peter. No question about it.
And North Korea knows that. First time they've ever backed down. This is big.
Well, because Trump might lob one into the men's room there at the national capitol. Now, I really think that that's a valuable foreign policy card. It's essential, as Nixon would say, that your opponents don't know what you are capable of, that they don't know what you'll do. Don't telegraph your plan, but make it clear that all options are on the table. That's the use of power. When Obama tried that, they laughed at him because his track record showed that every time, he set a limit and you crossed it, nothing would happen. I think they just took the measure of Donald Trump, and they probably don't like what they're seeing. He is a hard-nosed, tough guy who's not going to let us be pushed around the international stage anymore.
Well, we've seen appeasement for decades. That's one thing, but our elites giving the weapons to China, to North Korea, to the Muslims, you name it. I'm worried about the bravado and things because they can run into somebody else who's willing to stand up as well. Except our own elites armed our enemies. That's the big problem.
Well, and you see this a lot, this narrative today in the mainstream media, yesterday and today particularly saying, Trump has flip-flopped, Trump has abandoned. No, that's not true. It takes some nuance, but they use currency manipulation, for example. You see, he's no longer talking about Chinese currency manipulation. He wouldn't call them manipulators like he has 90 times previously in this interview. No, he's sitting down to get their help on North Korea. Now is not the time to be talking about an issue that has no, detonator fuse on it.
Plus, their currency's gone back up because ours went so high. Now the world's changed. Our currency's actually too high right now.
Yes, absolutely. So if you think Trump's not going to address trade or currency manipulation with the Chinese, and therefore he has changed his views, that's a false tale. That's not true. I just give that as one example.
All right, Roger Stone of StoneColdTruth.com. I want to just bring up a few other points here and let you get back to your important work today. One thing is folks are making a big deal. If you went to Dillard's or Macy's or anywhere 5 years ago, half of the polo shirts had Ralph Lauren with a skull and crossbones. Just means you're a pirate, which means you're an archetypal, have a fun guy. Some folks think that means you're skull and bones. So we didn't go to Yale. We're not skull and bones.
Yeah, absolutely not. This is an old polo shirt, and you can kind of get the inside joke. But yeah, no, I most definitely am not a skull and bones man, but I do urge people to look for my paperback edition of The Bush Crime Family, which will be out in June from Skyhorse.
Well, I want to sell that at InfoWarsStore.com. We certainly will. Let's talk a little bit about that here, and I'll take a few comments from these people in this. We're gentlemen about it. I kind of think it's cool they're trying to censor us and kick us off AdRoll and Google and saying arrest us, but we really are right now champions of the Republic. We're not trying to be. We just want to have freedom. But listeners need to understand, they're trying to take us out because they can shut up Roger Stone and Alex Jones and a few others. They're going to win. So now more than ever, share these links, share this video. It's so important.
Well, there's another key point goes without saying. When I spoke in Pembroke Pines, Florida last week to a Tea Party group, and they said, what can I do to fight, Google's attempts to censor us all? Google's attempts to make your site, unreachable for us. What do we do? In all honesty, one thing you can do is go to the InfoWars.com store. They have these internet corporations have billions to fight us with. So I honestly tell people, go to the store and support InfoWars because they're the only ones really taking, the Silicon Valley giants on and exposing what they're doing online to implement Stalin-like censorship, Hitler-like censorship. I hate to mention Hitler because as a general statement, one of Stone's rules is whoever brings up Hitler first in a political argument is losing.
That's right. Let me ask you this then in closing. Trump obviously can't direct the Attorney General to arrest Hillary. That's not his purview. But the Attorney General's there. Hillary committed all these crimes. And they're trying to remove him, trying to overthrow him, promoting this everywhere. She's the Russian connection. She's the Chinese connection. They gave the reactors. They have the WikiLeaks. They're caught red-handed. She's in the WikiLeaks saying Al-Qaeda's our friend. This just came out from 4 years ago, last Thursday. So him coming out on Fox Business and saying she's guilty, Hillary, when he's been saying for now since he got elected, oh, let's leave Hillary alone, it shows he knows they've stabbed him in the back. They didn't go into their abstentia. They didn't leave well enough alone. They didn't do the right thing for the country. We're not vindictive, but if they're coming after us and the Republicans trying to drop the hammer, what does it signify when Trump starts calling her guilty Hillary?
Yeah, I think this has to be viewed in the larger context, Alex. Immediately after the election, as we know, Chelsea Clinton reached out to Ivanka Trump to try to make nice. The president, in a conciliatory mood, and thinking that he might get some honeymoon and some cooperation from the Democrats to save this country by working together on policy initiatives, extended the olive branch by saying, well, Hillary Clinton really shouldn't be prosecuted and so on. I very much doubt that he feels that way today because that olive branch has been slapped out of his hand by Brock, Soros, and the other Clintonites, and their campaign of invective and hate has continued unabated. This is really, really simple. Attorney General Sessions needs to convene a grand jury and send out the subpoenas. Chelsea, Bill, Hillary, Tony Podesta, John Podesta, and the rest of their motley crew need to testify under oath about their crimes. This is not complicated. No person is above the law. That's what they told us over and over when Nixon was in trouble.
That's right.
Now these elitists think that they can skip because they're the Clintons? Wrong. We have a petition up at stonecoldtruth.com, charge Hillary, and we are trying to collect, a significant number of signatures to send to the president. The petition asks him to direct the Attorney General to convene a grand jury and get to the bottom of the epic corruption of the Clinton Foundation.
And that's why they hate you. That's why they hate you, because you have the courage to do it. In closing, for viewers, we're fighting. We're not perfect, but we want America. We want low taxes. We want freedom. We want religious freedom. We want cultural freedom. We're the real liberals. And here's Roger with a petition pushing this. We got shirts out doing it. We're calling for it. That's why we're being attacked by the enemy. That's why they're calling to arrest us. That's why they're trying to shut us down. That's why they're trying to sue us. Because we are fighting them. We don't want you to feel sorry for us. We're not victims. We're victorious. We're on the battlefield crushing the enemy. But we want you to realize the epic thing that's happening. So support us. Spread this video. It's about to not be live. It's about to go to archive. You are the human intelligence that can get past the AI. You can get it out on your email, person to person, your neighbors. There's a war for America happening. Everybody wanted to restore America. Everybody said they wanted to stand up to the globalists. We're doing it here. We're doing it worldwide. And we're in this together. And Trump is delivering, I'd say, about 90%. I'm surprised he's gotten as much done as he has. So please understand, this is history happening. And they took our kindness for weakness. We don't want to burn the globalists or Hillary or these people or Soros, but they won't stop. So Soros is being indicted in Eastern Europe. They're throwing his foundations out. The world recognizes who these parasites are. The sleeping giant is awakening. So thank you all for your prayers, your support, and so much more. Roger Stone, closing comment for the huge audience watching.
Yeah, Alex, I think you're absolutely right. I fear that some of our listeners out there say, well, I'm just one person. What can I do? Well, if you agree with the president when he told the New York Post, no wider ground war in Syria, no troops, no boots on the ground, and so on, it's essential that you contact the president and tell him you agree and remind him again and again you're on his team and you will back him in his efforts to make this country great again. You'll back him in his efforts to have a common sense foreign policy that puts the interests of the United States first, not last. You are one person, but if everyone acts, we can bury the White House in public opinion.
That's right. This is key. This is key.
The president forward.
Let me say this right now in closing. I'm going to say this in closing, then a final comment from you, Roger. Then I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to have final comments. I'm going to call you right after, my friend. It's not that Trump's perfect, but he's not out to get us. And he's surrounded by people that won't do what he says. even though he's gotten so much done, people want more, more, more. It's instant gratification culture. What we have to understand is that these enemies of the Republic want to destroy Trump as an image of nationalism. If they can destroy that, they can try to derail this whole movement. You're the movement. If the left can get Trump to feel like he's isolated and he has to go with them just to survive, which anybody would do, just because he understands the future of where it's going. If they can turn the tide, if we abandon Trump like the leftists want us to because he can't get everything done perfectly in 5 minutes, then that vacuum's filled by them. We are in the fight of the future, and Trump is just one beachhead, but a key beachhead. So let's get involved. How do we support Trump in that beachhead? Get past Twitter. Get to him in person. Call the White House. Letters to the editor. We are the resistance. No more blaming somebody else. Look how far we've already come. Let's go to the next level.
Well, you're absolutely right, Alex. You can call area code 202-456-1414. That's the White House. That's the White House switchboard. And they to take and record your message to the president. So call today and politely, firmly make it clear that you're with Donald Trump when he sticks to his agenda.
And he actually listens. He actually listens sometimes hours a day to those. It's incredible, the feedback. They've got leftists and AstroTurf everywhere shouting down conservatives, going out, trying to shut down town halls. We have to not be the AstroTurf, but the real deal.
Well, in fact, the president learned that they were taking a very substantial amount of his mail, people that had written to him in New York, pre-inauguration or in January after he became president. And that mail did not go to the White House. It went to a U.S. postal facility in Maryland to be sorted so that the puppeteers could determine what he should see and what he should not see.
Just like his Twitter account, they won't anything positive get to the top. It's all negative. So again, give that number out. Folks are asking for that number.
When the president learned that his mail was going to this bulk center, he demanded to see it. And now he is seeing a good cross selection of what's coming in. Obviously, nobody can sit there and read hundreds of thousands of messages. But it's why your message, 202-456-1414, to the president, giving your support for the non-interventionist, anti-globalist agenda and telling him to stick to his guns because you are with him and you will back him if he hangs tough. That's the message. That's the message.
StoneColdTruth.com, InfoWars.com, the sites they don't want you to see. In closing, any other tidbits of knowledge, Roger?
Well, I do think that Ivanka Trump has really led the drive to oust Steve Bannon. The globalists are saluting because they think that it is Bannon who has been pushing the anti-interventionist line. What they don't understand is that it's Trump who is pushing the anti-interventionist line. The idea that Bannon's a puppeteer and Trump is just a puppet, they have it backwards. Trump is the boss. Steve was merely trying to implement his vision. They just can't get it through their heads that this isn't some brainless George W. Bush that you just give garbage in, garbage out. That's not Trump. That's not Trump. So it is crucial, in my opinion, that we mobilize the grassroots to tell the president, stick to your guns and we will back you.
That's right, Roger. I'm going to let you go right now. I've got closing comments, but I'm going to call you about 5, okay?
All right, sounds great.
StoneColdTruth.com. Thank you, Roger. Okay, that's Roger Stone. Appreciate him joining us live like that. Let me get back over here. Listen, I've been doing this 22 years, and I've been studying politics since I was about 6 years old. And I can tell you the globalists are panicking. They're so scared of Trump right now. He has gotten so much done. It's not about the president calling me sometimes or talking to him or Roger talking to him almost every day and knowing what's going on. It's that what Roger tells me 3 days later is Trump word for word saying it. Not that Stone gave him the idea. He's talking to Trump. That's why they're trying to isolate Trump with everything they've got, is because he really does care about people. That's how he could get buildings built in half the time for half the price, because he was there cooking hamburgers and steaks for the guys building the buildings and seeing what they thought and giving bonuses to the good guys, getting rid of the bad guys. I mean, he's got that energy. And he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. But North Korea just backed off the first time since 1950. That's 67 years ago. Good God, that's a long time. Isn't that 1950 now? Yeah. Yeah, because Trump was ready to hit him. But China would have hit us. He got China on board. We've had a bunch of globalists playing on our weaknesses, making side deals, creating uncertainty around the world. That's what globalism is a war against the nation state, a war against the people. Doesn't mean Trump's perfectly executing. I can't mow in life with my wife, my kids, anything. But we're trying to build something good. That's the difference. And not just feeding off the crisis. We can't do that anymore with nuclear weapons and chemical weapons and biological weapons. So the big news is North Korea backed off to Trump. Nobody else was even, I mean, the news is like, yeah, North Korea didn't launch missiles and didn't, There was a total showdown, man. This ain't WWE with Hulk Hogan. This was real. Nothing against Hulk Hogan. It's just, it's fake. This ain't Andre the Giant. This is real stuff, folks. This really happened. Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. You are the future of this world if you decide to be heard and if you get involved and if you speak out. But if you don't, we have no future. So I'm glad I came in today to do this. I'm so glad North Korea backed off. Famous last words. I hope nothing happens in the next few days. But that little, Trump actually had to build his companies. Do what he did. I had to build what I built. I'm not nothing special. Kim Jong-un, until he was like 23, was in a boarding school in Switzerland, living on a mountain like a king. He had people like wiping his ass for him, literally a valet. Nobody ever put my clothes on for me after I was about 2 years old. By the time I was 5, my mom said, cook your own breakfast just so you don't learn how to do it. She wasn't a mean mom, but that's how it was. I sit here and I look at this little fat demon threatening everybody, and Trump finally said, he's a child, Japan, Russia, China, South Korea, everybody. What do we do? And he brought him to the table and they said, China said, we'll nuke him if he does it. And he said, okay, good. And you know what? They backed down after hundreds of millions of dollars, which is a lot for them, not for us. Their coal got turned back. It's a big deal. So this is just the return of elites that aren't out to get everybody. Are they perfect? Do they not engage in brinksmanship? No, absolutely. But they want you to have prosperity if you're willing to play the game. This isn't the elite trying to make a bunch of poor people, trying to make a bunch of dumb people, trying to make a bunch of racist people they can control. This is people that want to build a future. If you want that, it's happening now. There's a war for your mind. InfoWars isn't perfect, but we're busting our ass. Hey, we got 2 people here for crew. We just go, boom, live phone in an office on the Skype. It ain't about production. It's about the truth. And absolutely, if you want to see us get more reporters and pay our crew better so they can work harder and go to the next level, just take oxygen into your lungs. Supporting us is an instinct to survive. That's all it is. If you don't support InfoWars, I think you're crazy. But a lot of you are supporting us, so we're very, very thankful. We've got big specials running through this weekend, Easter specials, 40% off of water filtration. Makes your water better for your kids. You name it, save money on bottled water. Great nutraceuticals, you name it. It doesn't matter. If you already get it. Just like our info's hardcore and game-changing, our products are at InfoWarsStore.com. Well, I want to thank Harrison for coming in with Buckley and doing this. I want to thank the rest of the crew building our new studio. Tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m., the big Sunday transmission on Easter. And I pray for all the Christians that have been killed last week by Muslims. I know that's politically incorrect, but I'm sorry they blew up all those Christians in Egypt and Pakistan and killed all those kids. And I know that's seen as racist, but I think it's wrong to blow up Christians and kill them. And so I'm a Christian, and I wish you all a wonderful Easter, and thank God for our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Until next time, the fight's happening right now on this planet in deep space, and the future is up to you, the resistance. InfoWars.com. They hate that link, so spread it.